When I'm working with clients in building and maintaining healthy relationships, one of the biggest things I want to help them with is dropping their nice girl habits. In today's video, that's what we're going to be talking about. 4 of those habits that I see all the time that you'll want to let go of so that you can get that relationship, get that guy that you want and deserve. Very quickly, before we start the habits, my book is available. Grab a copy if you haven't already. There's also a free chapter. If you're on the fence, you can get the link in the description for that. All right, so let's talk about these 4 nice girl habits that I want you to let go of so that you can have the amazing relationships you want in your life. Number 1, thinking that being nice equals being a good person. Everyone wants to be a good person. Everyone you can imagine. People who do wrong by you, people who are in the mafia, people from every country in the world, terrorists to saints, we all want to be good people. It's one of the biggest drivers of behavior. Why is that an issue? Because everyone has a different definition of what it actually means to be a good person. How do you get to that goal? It's almost an entirely universal goal, but we have different ways to get there. Growing up, we have to learn, what does it mean to be a good person? How do we meet this goal? And we look to the outside world to figure that out. And many of us, especially you women, have grown up in situations where if you were making someone else feel good, you were rewarded for that behavior. On the other hand, if you were making someone else feel bad, often that person was so uncomfortable with that feeling of, could be sadness, could be fear, could be loneliness, whatever it was, could be anger. That person was uncomfortable with that emotion, and so they pulled away from you when you made them feel that way. What does that teach us? Well, when the people we love come towards us when we make them feel good and move away from us when we make them feel bad, it's very easy to come to the conclusion that, oh, I'm a good person when I'm making others feel good. Not a good person when I'm making others feel bad. This is the creation of a nice girl, is we start to believe that how I'm determined if I'm a good person comes from how I make others feel. You can see how this would affect your relationships. If you're always making someone feel good, you can't tell them difficult truths. If you're always making someone feel good, you can't give them constructive criticism or healthy feedback. And if you can't make someone feel good, you certainly can't set a boundary with them or tell them no when that would make them uncomfortable or set them off. That is a strangle on you and your authenticity, and it's why nice girls struggle to have authentic relationships, real relationships where they're really seen and really heard and really respected. The bottom line is this: being a good person means not always making others feel good. And you have to absorb that belief deep into your bones. Sometimes good people make others feel bad. Sometimes good people say and do things that hurt the feelings of others, even those they're closest to, and they're still good people. The women who get the best relationships have truly absorbed this belief. Meanwhile, if you're a nice girl, you'll keep the old belief of, oh, I have to always make others feel good because that's what makes me a good person. Nice girl habit number 2 is making him feel like you will never, ever, under any circumstances ever, walk away. Look, there's a harsh truth that a lot of you may not want to hear, and that is the only unconditional love in the world is that of a parent to a child. Unconditional love doesn't exist in adult relationships because there are always conditions. We're training each other in these conditions from the moment we start dating right through those first 12 months and beyond. We're saying, this is how I'll be treated and stick around, and this is my line where if you start treating me that way, I won't be sticking around. We all have these limits, whether we recognize them or not. And look, if this idea of, oh, unconditional love isn't there, if that makes you really uncomfortable, think of it in a different way. You can have unconditional love as long as your definition includes being able to walk away if necessary. The key point here is that either way, adult love means having a threshold where you will walk away from the person, where you will set a boundary if necessary and do permanent, no contact with that person. Nice girls lack that boundary, or they put it very, very low. They always want to make sure that the guy says, oh, I'm so comfortable that she's never going to leave. She always makes it so certain that no matter what I do, she loves me unconditionally. Unfortunately, life doesn't rise to your goals, it falls to your standards, and it's the same in the treatment you receive from men. Nice girls don't get treated as well by men because men realize they can fall to her standards, not rise to her vision. This doesn't happen to women who get really healthy, beautiful relationships because those women have higher standards that the guy knows he can't go below or he loses her. So a guy shouldn't believe that there is no way in the world, nothing he can ever do that will cause him to lose you. No, there should be. And there are. things that he can do that will absolutely cause him to lose you. Number 3, big nice girl habit is believing that receiving equals owing. Imagine that I am your neighbor and growing up I say, hey neighborino, here's a pot plant. And I hand that pot plant. You say, what's a pot plant for, Mark? And I say, you know what neighborino, that's a gift for you. It's a pot plant, you take it. So you take away the pot plant and you think, oh, that's a great pot plant. I love Mark, what a great neighbor. Only 2 weeks later, I come around, knock on your door and say, hey neighborino, would you be open to mowing my lawn? And you say, well, I don't really want to, Mark. And I say, hey neighborino, don't forget I gave you that pot plant. And over time you start to go, oh, I feel guilty, maybe I should just do it. I could even start to say, hey, you know, I did give you that pot plant, aren't we good neighbors? And you realize that pot plant wasn't a gift at all, it was a debt. It was a contract. I gave you the pot plant and now you owe me. Many of us have grown up in this situation where when we received a gift, it was actually a debt. And so we start to feel like we have to pay back everything we receive because that's what we grew up with as kids. If you apply this to your adult life, it makes you, unfortunately, seem like a nice girl and seem low value. And the reason is because if you feel like you have to pay everything back, the guy starts to see that, oh, she doesn't seem like she deserves much. He says, hey, I'd love to take you to dinner. And you say, oh, geez, I have to make sure he has fun or I have to sleep with him now. He says, hey, I want to take you out. And you say, no, I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to feel like you have to do that. You reject his gifts because you're worried about having to pay them back. You're worried about the debt that will be incurred. Or you receive and then you overappreciate him for it. He takes you to dinner and for the next 3 weeks you're planning dates for him and you're feeling like you have to take him out and do great things for him. You feel like you have to pay back so much over this little gift because you're not used to receiving. If you want to break the nice girl habit, you've got to get used to receiving, to intaking, to saying, yes, I am allowed to have that and I don't owe you anything. It's your choice to give me that. I don't have anything to pay you back. You can choose to pay the guy back, of course. You can buy an ice cream after the date to show that you want to contribute. You can simply share your feelings of appreciation, and your feelings are often the best payment that a man can receive. But you never have to do these things. Only nice girls believe that they have to do this. Oh, he did this, so I have to do this. Oh, he did that, so I absolutely have to do this and do this and do this and show all my appreciation over and over and over again. No. Receiving does not equal owing. Receiving a gift is a choice of the other person to give to you, and there is no further contract attached. And any man who makes a contract attached or says, hey, I bought you that dinner, so you have to sleep with me now, or even implies it, you can say, hey, GTFO. Receiving does not equal owing. So drop the nice girl habit of believing that it does. And the fourth nice girl habit that I want you to challenge yourself to drop is the habit of putting a guy on a pedestal. You see, we put someone on a pedestal because we idolize them. We see them not for who they actually are, but who we think their status indicates they are. It can be easy to do, especially when the guy maybe has achievements or has money or has status, whatever it is. But the more you put someone on a pedestal, please remember, the more they look down on you. And when someone looks down on you, they don't respect your opinions, they don't respect your standards, they don't respect who you are, and they basically feel like they have a passive follower that they can discard whenever necessary, whenever she no longer becomes useful. It's very important you see a man as your equal. I talk about this a lot in one of the big chapters of my book. Seeing a man as your equal means challenging him sometimes, it means being his equal teammate, his equal partner, and it means you guys are forming a relationship where you're not the same, but you're on the same level. You are equal in the way you look at each other. Speaking as a man, I can say I've experienced this personally as well, which is I've dated women who have put me on a pedestal and I've dated women who haven't. And I'm so much more attracted to the women who have not done that because they can see the real me. They call me out for being the real me. I can feel the real them. It feels a lot more authentic than the women who idolized me or put me on a pedestal. The bottom line is that when you put someone on a pedestal, they don't feel seen. And just the way you might find it fun if a guy puts you on a pedestal, but you know he's not really seeing the real you, it's the same for us men. We might enjoy it for a little bit, but ultimately that's not the woman that we're going to choose. So drop the nice girl habit of putting the guy on a pedestal, see him for who he really is with his faults, imperfections, and great things as well, and you're much more likely to get the guy's respect and not be seen as a nice girl. What's a nice guy habit? If you've got a nice guy habit that you want men to let go of, put that in the section below. Hit the big red subscribe button with the little bell for notifications, and I will see you in the next video very soon.